VSys is designed in a way that you can update your database and your component database by essentially making it easier for the user to update by simply dividing the way you enter the data into the database into three main components. You have your companies, where essentially you have a list of all the customers and suppliers that you deal with, their information, addresses, part numbers, and so on. You have the codes. The code section is where you define the codes that you use and utilize in your own company. And this is where the flexibility comes in. You're not limited to the default codes. You can have your own color codes, your own material codes, essentially to customize the tool to match your design standards and your design formation. And of course, the last thing is the components, to manage the components themselves, to add new components, create the links between the components, and essentially to cover the link between all the components that Ben was talking about. So the idea is, by establishing those component links, the user would be able to extend the digital thread from the components database all the way to your design. So VSys is not just a drawing tool. Just like Paul mentioned, VSys is the tool that represents the design behind the drawing, the fidelity of the design. So by utilizing these component links, you'd be able to link those components and utilize them once they are established into the database. So now let's jump into VSys and quickly build a system and show you how component links work. So I'm sharing my screen. Can you see my screen now, Dan?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So what we see in the screen is a simple system that consists of a battery feeding power into a lamp, and just we have our two chassis, of course, as grounding. We can see that, of course, if we open one of those components, if we just look at the lamp, we can see that there is no library part assigned to the component. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new library part, assign it to the component, and establish the links and see how we can tie it back to the design. So we start the component database, and we have the three sections here as shown in the presentation. We're going to start by opening the components, and we're going to create a new component. By default, the first thing is VSys asks you to provide a part number. So in this case, let's use LMP-1000. And just like that, automatically the name is highlighted in red to indicate that there is an issue with the design. That means there is another part number in the library that has the same part number. So by default, you're protected if you already don't make mistakes by making the same product codes or the same part number twice. Well, this is an extra layer of protection. If you fall in the 16% of the attendees, now this is automatically your first defense line. You're always protected by the design rule checks to make sure that you're not creating components that have the same name, have same part number, and so on. So we're going to change the part number, LMP 1001, and the group name, we're going to create a device and click OK. The device, we're going to give it a description, call it electrification. The type code is the type of device that we're using. We're going to go into the codes that we define from the libraries and select lamp. And we have 2 pins in our device. We also assign a symbol to the device. So we're going to go and add a new symbol. So whenever we use it, we have it there. It's going to be in electrical, and the symbol is lamp. So let's find the lamp, and is the lamp. Apply. Yes. The next thing is, once we created the device, we created the pins and the symbol to be assigned, we're going to use the component links and define a footprint for the device. Essentially, a footprint for a device is all the connectors that could be used with that device. Each device can have more than one footprint, either on it can have one on the device side and one on the harness side. So you can either have external connectors that connect to the device, or you have the connectors inside the device. So quickly, we're going to create one, it's footprint 1, and you can see it automatically detects that the device has 2 pins, X, Y, and so far there is no harness connector added. So we're going to add quickly. We're going to add a part number for the connector. So this essentially tells VSys that whenever we have this part number, LMP 1001, connector C-1333 is always used with it. So with that, VSys establishes the connection, makes sure that the pins are mated, and with that, we have our connector. Now, the device has a connector assigned to the footprint. Now, if we open the definitions of the connector that we just assigned, we're going to notice that even the connector has a terminal assigned to it. So essentially by this, you're maintaining your connection all the way from a device to the terminal, and you can even extend it even more by adding wires and so on. So this is a very smart way to have all your links together in the same design, in the same library. So whenever you use them, you have everything all over, and all the information is included in the bill of material and all the project documentation, as we're going to see after. So let's go jump back our design, refresh, because we changed the database, open and assign our part number, LMP-101. It tells us what's going to happen because of the pins, just the names. We accept that, okay. And just like that, now we have our part number assigned. Now this is the part where it gets interesting. We're going to create the harness connector for the device from the database. We're going to leverage the link that we just created. So going to click the device, and we're going to automatically generate the harness connectors. VSys goes into the database, fetches the information, creates the plug or the seal or the connector or whatever, and automatically connects it to the device. So this is a very smart and easy way to leverage the component links in your database and extend the digital thread line from your database all the way to your design and leverage the design in the documentations and so on. So VSys is not just a drawing tool, it's actually a platform that allows you to innovate in your design. So with that, let's jump back to our presentation and continue from there.